There are a huge number of money lies that you've been told throughout your life that are keeping you trapped in the position that you're in. This video is going to go into the top 4 money lies that you may have been told to try and debunk some of these myths. Number 1, talking about money is rude. Now, here on this channel, that is pretty much all I talk about. I talk about finances, saving, career, and building your wealth. But it is not very commonly talked about in day-to-day society. People would rather talk about their most embarrassing story than they would about how much they earn, how much they've got saved, and what their net worth is. Now, this is a big problem because it prevents information being shared around how you can build wealth. How can you learn about investing or money management if they're never talked about? And how do you even know these things exist if you've never heard of them before? There's a huge gap in the level of financial information that people receive. The rich set up investments and teach their children about money management and how to build their wealth, and this information is passed down from generation to generation. Meanwhile, the poor don't know about these different ways to build wealth and get stuck in the cycle of living paycheck to paycheck and constantly not having enough. This is why it is so important to share this information so we can level out the playing field and that everyone has access to the same tools and the same techniques to be able to build their wealth accordingly. Number 2, you should be grateful for what you've got. I did my master's in sustainability about 5 years ago, and this is one of the areas that is really undervalued and underpaid. Just because someone cares about the work that they're doing and the impact they're having, this does not warrant companies paying these people less than what they deserve and what their skill set requires. And we've seen this so many times across society. One of the obvious examples are teachers who want to educate the future generations and really care about the level of learning that children get in schools. And likewise for nurses who want to care for sick or elderly patients. I feel like society really takes advantage of people who care about the work that they're doing. Around 40 years ago, teaching was a very highly paid profession and really prestigious. However, since more women have entered this occupation, you've seen the salaries tumble and not keep up with the rate of inflation over the many years. If you feel like you're being underpaid versus your job title, your skill level, or the requirements that your job is placing on you, you can ask for a raise. And one of the best companies to be able to check whether you're being paid fairly and in line with the industry is Glassdoor. You can go onto their website and type in your job title and the location that you're working on to be able to see what other people in other companies are being paid and look at whether you're being paid around the same amount and compensated fairly. Number 3, you'll be rich if you just work hard. Now, I've got to acknowledge here that there are a huge different range of privileges that people are born with or get during their life, and it's not a level playing field for everyone. Sometimes the privilege is the place that the person's been born and the education that they received. Other times it's to do with their upbringing and the amount of information they have around their finances or their career prospects. But it can also be related to the amount of time that someone has in their day. So one of the phrases that really irritates me is the phrase, everyone has the same number of hours in a day as Beyonce. As much as everyone has 24 hours, the amount that Beyonce can achieve in that time is hugely more because 1, she's already got that strong platform and awareness to build upon, but 2, she's going to have a very big designated team that will be able to support her in doing all the different tasks she needs to do to be able to achieve what she wants. And one of the last pieces around privilege and luck is who you know. Now, this is something that is talked about hugely. It's not what you know, it's who you know. And it is really important to expand your connections, but not everyone has those same connections from the start. Whereas if you don't have those connections, you have to break into the industry, which is much harder. Privilege and luck do play a huge part in someone's financial situation, and it's not just a case of how hard someone works. Myth number 4. This is a big one and really limits someone's potential to grow their wealth. A lot of people are told investing is risky or complicated. And to burst the bubble, once you get started, investing really isn't that difficult. What is scary is the thought of not investing and not being able to retire when you hit the age 65 because you just don't have enough money saved up, or your money depreciating in value because inflation is increasing and your money's not keeping up with this level, or you losing out on thousands and thousands of pounds because you haven't invested your money and it's just sat in one single account, not growing. One of the things that has made investing really intimidating is it's plagued with a huge number of complicated finance sounding terms that really don't mean that much. Once you learn 2 or 3 of these, you'll be on your way and they're not very complicated. So when you think about investing, do you picture a man in a grey suit on Wall Street shouting about random finance terms and doing something that looks really complicated with a huge bunch of graphs. In reality, investing is not like this, and you also don't need a huge amount of time to get started, because once you've invested there, you just keep the money, you hold it for multiple years. So there is a big difference between day trading, which is what's typically spoken about on the internet, versus long-term investing. Now, day trading is when you buy and trade stocks every single day. There's people in their rooms looking at multiple screens, comparing stock prices going up and down. And statistically, these people are not likely to make that much money unless they really know the markets and know what they're doing. For most people, the common approach that is taken is long-term investing, and Warren Buffett himself recommends this approach. What you do is you pick an index fund, which is basically a basket of companies, and you put your money in here and leave it for a long time. The longer you leave your money, the more likely it is to grow and increase in value. Here are the chances of you making money on your investment versus the amount of time that your money is invested for. So if you invest for 1 day, your chance of making money is 50%. This is basically what day trading is. If you invest for 1 year, your chance of making money increases to 68%. If you invest your money for 10 years, that increases even further and you have an 88% chance of making money. And if you invest for 20 years, you have basically 100% chance of making money. So you see, investing is not that risky if you're investing with the long term in mind. So you need to be thinking somewhere between 10 and 20 years ideally, which is why it is perfect for retirement. So if you invest for the long term with your money spread across a wide range of different investments and assets, then you are highly likely to see an increase in the amount of money that you put in. So you could start doing this as soon as you start working. You start investing £170 a month, and then when you retire at age 65, you will have £1 million to be able to live off. Let me know which of these finance myths have been holding you back in the comments below. Now we've debunked these financial myths and shown that investing is not risky or scary or intimidating, I've got another video linked here around the benefits of investing.